All right, greetings. We're live. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Lots of people in the YouTube chats already. That's great. We're live on Rockfin as well. Rockfinners, hello. How you doing? We're live on Callin. And they've been running this like bulldozer thing for all morning. No audio? Can you guys hear me? Can you all hear me? I don't know. Rockfin seems like it's not even showing up. Please let me know if you can hear me on the various platforms. Do I have sound on Callin, Rockfin, and on YouTube? Before I start. Oh, now something. Golly. StreamYard is really weird. Okay, you guys can hear me? Okay, cool. All right. All right. Quickly, just starting with this might fall into just starting off with some comic relief. Has anybody seen these videos of Hunter Biden acting really weird on 4th of July? What's wrong with his face? Like, why is he looks very he looks like he just did like 5 lines of coke. He's very, very nervous for some reason. Whoa. It's really wild. What really wild? Why does he look like that? Maybe he's sweating out his impending legal issues. I mean, he did plead guilty to some things, but he pleaded guilty to some things, but oops, sorry. It seems like there's more more heat on the way for him. More heat a coming. And then this is another video of him apparently. I watched this several times and I was like, I don't know how that happens. I don't know. They said he's doing a bump of coke. It looks like he left his coke in the White House. Yes. But he's like wiping his nose. He like turns around, does something weird. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't think he's doing a bump of coke there, but what I want to know is what's wrong with Jill Biden? Why does she look like first of all, she looks like a wax figure, and I'm sorry to I don't mean to really get on people about how they look. Maybe this a little bit. But she also looks quite sweaty. She looks like she's nervous about things too. I don't know. Anyways, what does this mean in the context of anything? I don't know. It's just, again, this is weirdness from the Bidens at the White House and just some comic relief. just something to talk about. I mean, there's plenty of actual. I mean, the story that there was cocaine found in the White House. Apparently, there's audio of the people that found it, and they said it was found. I couldn't really understand what they were saying. It sounded like they found it in the library. Yeah, Joe's fine. Seems like Joe's fine. Seems like everybody else seems a little nervous there. I don't know. It's because Joe is a seasoned psychopath. He can lie and just not even. He's been lying for so long that I'm sure he believes the lies. Yeah, and I saw that. I didn't see the thing about the fifth being hotter than the fourth. But let's look at this. Monday, July 3rd was the hottest day ever recorded on planet Earth, a record that lasted until Tuesday, July 4th. Totally unprecedented and terrifying. Again, with these graphs that look more like stock charts and not at all like temperature charts. This is not supposed to be happening. This is not what you want to see happening. You want to see a nice up and down. You don't want to see it too far away from where everything else is happening. But this is going like straight up in the wrong direction. And this is global temperature on planet Earth. Again, I don't know what I can say about this. Appears there are a lot of people that don't believe in temperature readings or charts or anything. You're just making that up. But that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. And where that stops, straight up she goes, and where she stops, nobody knows. All right. Here's another interesting and frightening graphic from Dr. Charlie Gardner. My new favorite climate graphic from Jane Morton at Safe Climates. Excellent free booklet. Don't mention the emergency. So this looks like temperature change during human civilization. This is, spells it out quite succinctly of what's happening and how quickly it's happening on the planet. We see a fluctuation of temperature here, but this happens over a long period of time. And we get here and then boom. Again, this looks like more like a stock chart and less like something that's supposed to be happening on planet Earth. This is not a good thing on any level. Is this where we're going? This is projected, the red part. The black part is where we are now. Still with we're only at 1.1 C. No, we are not at 1.1 C. We're not even at 1.2 C. Stop. I wish they would stop doing that. But they're going with the ultra conservative estimate of where we are now. And this is a projected, rise of like straight up into. By the way, if you want to read that, don't mention the emergency. There's a free download available, making the case for emergency climate action. So you can go download this book if you want to read it for free. Don't mention the emergency. Let's keep going. More about heat. Over 100 dead in Mexico from sweltering heat wave of 50 C. They're hitting the 50s in Mexico. Let's listen to this.
Mexico's health ministry says at least 112 people have died in the past 2 weeks as an unprecedented heat wave drove temperatures as high as 50 degrees Celsius or more than 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Residents of Monterrey say they've been forced to limit their time outdoors.
I work in construction and it's really bad. We hydrate with water and rest for 15 minutes and then we go back to work again. We do that every hour.
Stifling heat and humidity are continuing across Texas and southeastern states, where officials say extreme temperatures have killed at least 14 people. Farther north, more than 100 million people are under air quality alerts again today as thick smoke from Canadian wildfires drifts east. Detroit, Washington, D.C., and New York City ranked among the 6 worst cities in the world for air quality this morning, though forecasters predict some relief from hazardous air over the July 4th holiday weekend.
Hazardous air. There's a lot of hazardous air. There was hazardous air here. Oh, you guys couldn't see that graph? I apologize. I'll go back. I'll go back and show it. My bad. That's the graph. We had really we had really bad air quality here. It was quite smoggy and disgusting. No smoke to speak of, but it just, just general bad air quality. General smog. The air was very hot and very still, and just like a light onshore wind that was just pushing the smog up next to the mountains. That's how it works here in LA anyways. Yeah, I continue to see people talking about the high UV levels again. 10 is crazy. You know that 4 is normal, like 3 or 4 is normal. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that is off the charts, really high UV, not healthy, not good for you. You want to avoid those UV levels or avoid being out in them. I actually have so many things to cover. I'm going to try and really speed this up. Far reaches of northern Quebec and Kuujjuaq near the Arctic Ocean reached an all-time record high of 93 degrees in northern Quebec. That is, I'm sorry, it's so loud. That is not normal. Not normal. Not normal. This beats Miami's high of 92 yesterday. Northern Quebec, as hot as Miami. Another sign that things are out of whack. Not quite right. A little off, etc., etc. All right. Oh, this is a weird. Has anybody seen this video of people enjoying the outdoors while a fire rages close by? I remember there's been, several of these kinds of videos out, but this is weird. Holidaymakers enjoying recreation on the Columbia River. So there's just people out there like sailing and I don't know what you call this, paragliding, I guess. While there's a fire going on, I know you can't see it. But there's planes coming down to drop fire retardant and water on this fire, and it's a massive raging fire, and everybody is just like, "That's cool. I'm fine." Anyways, weird, wacky stuff. This is an alarming post here. Simultaneous harvest failures across major crop producing regions are a threat to global food security. Simultaneous crop failures, the three scariest words in the world right now. This is a paper from nature.com. Abstract. Simultaneous harvest failures across major crop producing regions are a threat to global food security. Concurrent weather extremes driven by a strongly meandering jet stream could trigger such events, but so far this has not been quantified. Specifically, the ability of state-of-the-art crop and climate models to adequately reproduce such high-impact events is a crucial component for estimating risks to global food security. Here we find an increased likelihood of concurrent low yields during summers featuring meandering jets in observations and models, while climate models accurately simulate atmospheric patterns. Associated surface weather anomalies and negative effects on crop responses are mostly underestimated in bias-adjusted simulations. Given the identified model biases, future assessments of regional and concurrent crop losses from meandering jet states remain highly uncertain. Our results suggest that model blind spots for such high impact but deeply uncertain hazards have to be anticipated and accounted for in meaningful climate risk assessments. They are underestimating the possibilities that concurrent crop failures could put us in the danger zone. Some people think we're already there. We're already in the danger zone. Things like this, because things like this keep happening. There was a really strong storm that hit the Netherlands and Germany. Storm Polly, which was one of the most powerful summer storms to impact the Netherlands in 50 years, also wreaked havoc across parts of Germany Wednesday after rapidly strengthening. Widespread damage and travel impacts were reported. Powerful storm with fierce winds and heavy rain slammed the Netherlands and northwestern Germany Wednesday, leaving at least 2 people dead. The Associated Press reported photos and traffic cameras showed trees toppled over onto sidewalks and cars in Amsterdam, as well as on motorways throughout the northern portion of the country. The Royal Netherlands Meteorological Institute said this was the worst windstorm to strike the country in the month of July, and one of the most powerful summer storms to affect the country in more than 50 years. One woman was killed in the Dutch city of Haarlem when a tree fell onto a car. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. I don't know if it's Harlem. Elsewhere, a man was killed by a falling tree in the northwestern German town of Red. And they were up to 90 mile per hour gusts. In India, they're doing pretty much like everybody else, making the old commitments to do something about climate change, but understanding the reality of how the economy the economy is, what's necessary for the economy is continued burning of fossil fuels if you want to keep the same economy that everybody seems to enjoy so much. So India reopened 100 coal mines to address the high demand for energy needed to cool buildings artificially due to overloaded grids and frequent power outages that occurred much earlier than expected. Phase down of coal actually means rapid expansion of mining. And this is, you see this everywhere. You see this in the, Jesus, I hate you, Washington Post. I don't know. I'm not going to, hold on one second. We'll go here. Maybe this will be better. I don't know if it'll be better. No. Anyways, India was planning to phase down fossil fuels, coal especially. But there seems to be, excuse me, there seems to be, well, a high demand for energy, and they need that energy, and they need that coal, and they need to keep on burning it if they want to keep, especially if they want to keep all the Indians cool during them super hot heat waves. What are you going to do? Most of the world is going to say we're going to mine some more coal. That's what we're going to do. We can't possibly imagine a world in which we are asking for less. We can't possibly imagine a world in which people are willing to live with a lot less in order to not destroy the future of the planet. But it's just such a weird, just so out of the box. It's just so, I can't imagine it. Humans lived for thousands of years in a completely different way than humans have lived in the last 100 years. And yet, this is the way that all humans are supposed to live. It's just weird. Poppy D sent me this, Poppy Davis. They're planting rice at night because it's so hot during the day they can't plant the rice. This is from a couple days ago. Vietnam farmers planting in the dark as heat wave looms. It's 3 a.m., pitch black, when rice farmer Tran Thi Lan heads into waterlogged fields on the outskirts of Hanoi to begin planting, desperate to finish before the day's brutal heat arrives. Planting in the dark has become a savior for countless farmers in North and Central Vietnam during increasingly hot summers as South and Southeast Asian nations battle record high temperatures this year. It's so hard to plant the rice when the strong sun is directly on my back and the warm water in the field splashes my face. Lan, 47, told AFP. Lan has managed a few days of daytime planting during a brief respite from the heat, but she switched to night work as another heat wave descended on northern Vietnam in early July, with forecasters predicting A long stretch where daily temperatures would exceed 37 degrees Celsius or 98 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is what it's come to. Massive tornado in Alberta, Canada. Again with the weird weather. It's just the weather. Apocalyptic damage reported in Alberta, Canada after a powerful EF4 tornado. One of the strongest tornadoes in Canada's history touched down in the Alberta province on Saturday. In a scene reminiscent of a disaster movie, Alberta residents were struck by a catastrophic tornado on Canada Day, wreaking havoc and causing widespread destruction. The powerful EF4 tornado, estimated to be among the strongest tornadoes ever recorded in the region, injured one person and left communities in shock as they grappled with the aftermath of a devastating storm. According to a damage report from the ECCC, the twister caused damage to 12 homes, completely destroying 3 and leaving 4 uninhabitable. It also overturned a combine, which typically weighs about 22,000 pounds. Jesus. That's a big storm. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all can't see what I'm looking at. Concurrent crop losses due to extreme weather. Remember that article I just read like 3 minutes ago? It's just the weather. These things happen. Sure. But when the weather's all out of whack for long enough, you're going to start noticing. Let's keep going. There's so many things to talk about today, cover today. Swaths of Asia have been hit by extreme weather that scientists say have been exacerbated by climate change, with over a dozen killed by heavy rain in China since Monday. Again, floods, fires, drought, heat wave. They're making it all up. Okay. It's just the weather. Hundreds flee homes after flooding in Mongolia capital. Hundreds of people in Mongolia's capital have fled their homes as heavy flooding inundated basement apartments, with authorities placing the city on high alert Wednesday. Swaths of Asia have been hit by extreme weather the scientists say have been exacerbated by climate change. 93 degrees in northern Quebec. Super normal. In traditionally dry Ulaanbaatar this week, heavy rains have inundated rivers, flooding basement apartments, and trapping cars. Residents of the Bayan Zerk district living near the River Selb told AFP they had been working since the early hours to boost the height of a local dam and stem rising waters caused by heavy rain. Our neighbors started to bring dirt and rocks from other places to add more layers on the dam at 3 a.m., said a 40-year-old resident of one of the worst affected areas who gave his name as Delgar Saikan. The river level reached the dam at 1 a.m. last night, so we've been working all night and managed to prevent our apartment from getting flooded. Some views of a lot of water here. And this from Peter Dines. More frightening graphics. Our stable climate, essential to our modern civilization, is currently falling off a cliff. We need urgent global action to prevent climate chaos. Excuse me. Global sea ice area. Bam. Going the other direction, the direction in which the heat is going might have something to do with the direction the ice is going. I wonder if they're related. And something about what he said here is important. Our stable climate, essential to our modern civilization. Yeah, but so is oil. Fossil fuels are essential to our modern civilization. And at some point, you can't have one and have the other at the same time. Right? One starts to, one has to go. And I would say further, our modern civilization is a threat to the stable climate. Yes, a stable climate is essential to our modern civilization, but we're not going to continue our modern civilization and keep a stable climate. They're both very, very related. One of those has to go. You want modern civilization? Well, we have the fruits of our labors. In an unstable climate. You want a stable climate? I think modern civilization mostly has to go. You could probably keep a few very essential things going. But most of it has to go. I know. It's crazy. What is he talking about? You guys are cuckoo. All right. Made it through a lot of posts today. I got a few more. Remember the story I read to you yesterday about censorship? In Missouri, there was a case against the Biden administration, and they ordered people in the Biden administration to stop contacting social media with censorship requests. That's something. The Biden administration has officially filed a notice of appeal in the Missouri versus Biden censorship case after a federal judge issued a preliminary injunction order barring government officials from contacting social media companies to suppress lawful speech. They call it hate speech, and you believe it, or some people believe it, not you, but yeah, those people are crazy. We got to stop. It's all crazy people that are saying the things that they don't like. And so they need to shut them up. Okay. It's protected by law. It's called free speech. It's called the First Amendment. You're allowed to say hateful, harmful, hurtful stuff. You're actually allowed to say that. That's actually covered by the law. Because it is just speech. It is just speech. And it's up to adults to act appropriately when they hear, speech that might be a little outside the, hey, a little rough there. Right? But if you think that censoring people and ideas that you don't like is going to keep everybody safe, then you don't understand the concept of free speech. It's not about safety. It has nothing to do with safety. It has to do with free speech and freedom, and the freedom to to counter what the people in charge are saying. But they've sure done a job of convincing people that this is what we need, especially on keeping people safe from harm on social media. You know how to stay safe from harm on social media? Get off of social media. Oh, it's so harmful over there. Well, don't go there. If it's super harmful for you, well then there's a lot of other places you can go. But that's not what they're trying. They're not actually trying to suppress harmful or hateful speech. They're trying to suppress things that run ideas that run counter to their narrative. That's the whole point. That's the sleight of hand. That's the 3-card Monty. And it's very effective because people totally just eat it on up. They eat it on up and they're like, this is tasty. This is tasty propaganda. I love this. This is delicious. Can I have another slice of propaganda? Jimmy Dore says Biden is 100% pro-war and anti-worker and now is publicly fighting in court so he can keep censoring you. Well, that's the other thing is people think that Trump is worse than Biden. Biden is no different than Trump and might actually be worse than Trump. And he's doing it all with the blessing of people that are like, no, but Biden is such a good guy. No, he is not. He is not. He is not a good guy. And he's not better than Trump, and he's not like less fascist than Trump. He's absolutely as fascist, if not more fascist than Trump. That doesn't mean I'm a Trump fan. The bar is pretty low. If you're trying to, figure out who's more fascist, that's not a debate you want to be in. You want to be in, the debate of does the person you have in office or want to vote for, do they actually believe in things like freedom and free speech and democracy? Biden does not. Sorry to tell you that. Sorry to pop that bubble for you. Some people are dumb enough to think he's somehow to the left of Republicans, or that voting for him saved democracy. You voted for an extreme right-wing, anti-worker, warmongering authoritarian who wants to silence dissent. Congrats. That's Jimmy Dore calling it like it is. This is Joe Rogan. All right. I think I might just play. Oh, I don't know. Well, I'm going to play the rest of these on Rockfin, I think, or talk about the rest of these on Rockfin. But before I do, move over to Rockfin. In case you didn't know, the best possible ways, the most direct possible ways to support this channel, paypal.me/Kevin Sandbloom, Venmo at Kevin Sandbloom, Cash App at Red Llama Music, buymeacoffee.com/Black Bear News. Those are the most preferred ways to support the show. And thank you to everybody who does support the show. Checking in on the platforms for a moment. And alrighty, before we go over to Rockfin, but thank you all to those that support the show. Thank you. Y'all support the show in so many ways, and I appreciate you all being here. All right, so we're going to jump over to Rockfin for the rest of the show. Thank you, YouTubers. We'll be back tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. YouTubers, sayonara.